After all that, Kisara never came back to see us.
I'm surprised she slipped away without us noticing. Where would she even go? I hope this place survives. You think the Danans and Renans have a chance of getting along? We didn't really do much to change things around here, did we?
This realm had its own walls to overcome. And in the end, it was the people themselves who decided to break them down, without any help from us. I hope they keep going, I really do.
Yeah, well, if you say so, I guess. Huh?
All right. I leave command of the Gold Dust Cats in your hands.
You've got nothing to worry about, Kisara. I'll do your brother proud.
Looks like it's time to go. Take good care of Zare for me. All right, Legil?
You've got it. Stay safe, Kisara.
Did you come to say goodbye?
Actually, I was wondering if you could use another companion.
Huh?
Well, we certainly don't mind you coming along. We just figured you'd stay behind and help rebuild. These people could use you.
I thought much the same thing. However, in the end, something changed my mind. Ever since Miguel died, I've been thinking a lot. About where I went wrong, what I should have done differently. You know, that sort of thing. It's true that our dream of coexistence saved many Danan lives, but we were naive and short-sighted. I was so wrapped up in my idea of how things should be that I didn't see the problems that existed right in front of us. I thought we had been given a utopia. And so I never bothered to look too far past its surface. I chose to be ignorant. And because of that, because of me, my brother...
Miguel's death wasn't your fault, Kisara.
Perhaps you're right. But in the end, it was me he entrusted this dream to. I learned that nothing in this life is free, or gained without sacrifice. Now that I know that, I'll just have to figure out what else I don't know.
So, decided to join us?
I have. And hopefully I can continue to protect Elda Menencia from outside the dream world, for the sake of those still inside.
And here I thought you joined for an opportunity on my life.
In all honesty, I'm grateful to you. I truly am. I don't blame you for what happened. But I must also leave your service. No longer will I be defined by protecting a Renan lord. From now on, when I fight to protect my dream. All I ask is that you do your part, that you fight alongside me, not just for those who used to believe in your dream, but for those that still do. Dohalim.
I understand. I'm no longer a lord anyway.
Well, this crew just gets bigger and bigger. All right, where to, team?
We make for Mahag Sar, the Valley of the Four Winds.
Okay, whatever Rinwell knows that she's not saying, it's really starting to irk me now. Like, at first it was just kind of like she has some idea that there's something else going on behind the scenes or something. But it's now turning into this mentality of like, There's something really bad and rotten in Denmark, and she's not saying a word about it, and she knows. And it's going to get us all in trouble at this point. Gnocchi recipe. Brown springy dumplings combining potatoes and flour. Leaf wrapped fish. Tasty, tasty, tasty. Comrades in freedom.
I'm amazed how easily you can move such a giant shield around like it's nothing.
Really? It's not actually as heavy as it looks.
It's really reassuring to have someone like you protecting us, though.
You know, I guess I never realized it before, but looking back, I've always been the sort to put myself in harm's way to protect those around me, even before I joined the Elderman and Sea Guard. So in a way, using this shield to keep you all safe feels like it's what I was meant to do.
You don't need to worry about protecting me. I don't plan on relying on you.
That's okay. It doesn't matter if you do or not. I don't protect people because they ask me to. I do it because I want to, and because I think it's the right thing to do. That goes for you too, Dohalim.
Me?
Yes. You see, you and I both want the same thing. We have the same goal. That means it's in my best interest to continue to protect and keep you safe as well. Even now.
I'm not sure how much protecting I'll need either, but I appreciate the thought. I'm sure you'll do us proud, Kisara.
Right. You can all count on me.
What was Kelzelik even after in the end?
Isn't it obvious? Clearly he wanted the throne for himself, and was gonna have his goons execute Dohalim to get it.
He had to have known he couldn't hope to defeat a lord. He should have run while he had the chance, instead of holding himself up in the palace.
Maybe he thought he couldn't run? Either way, the outcome's the same.
So he got desperate and decided to go for broke?
One might argue that he was another victim of mine, in a sense.
Huh?
There is no greater calling in life to a Renan than the crown contest, yet I refused to take part. The shock he felt at that must have been truly immense. Enough to drive him to revolt, even though doing so meant defying Renan hierarchy.
I know I've said this before, but Danans and Renans wouldn't coexist here if it wasn't for your stance.
But that was no lofty idealism on my part, nor do I feel any pride at what occurred.
Spare us the pity party. You literally just joined us to uphold those ideals.
Shion?
No, she is absolutely correct. I shall speak no more of my misgivings.
Damn, Shion! Alright, well, anyway. Man, this was an interesting zone. This really was. This was like one of the more intriguing zones. So, the question of what Kelzelik was plotting, I think I have the answer. He mentioned that he could serve another lord, right? And what would be more powerful by far than any to win the contest? To win the contest, you have to have the most astral energy, right? That's what they said at the beginning of the game. So if every Renan Lord has one core to make astral energy, then what would be the most powerful way to make sure that you win? If you had two cores. So if the plot all along was to give the astral energy from Mencia to Mohag Sar, then that is what he was going to do. That's why he stayed, because his plan, I think, was to give the astral energy from this zone to another lord, so that they would have two zones worth and become the ruler, and then he would get to serve under their leadership, and he'd get probably a pretty high seat for it as well, considering he basically just gave them the win.
of your friends, Hoodle?
I mean, that's just my guess, though.
Mahag Sar. That makes 4 out of the 5 realms that I've visited now.
I wonder what kind of lord we're gonna find there.
It doesn't matter. If they try to get in our way, we'll take them down and that'll be that.
Okay, Rinwell. Start talking. You're driving me nuts, girl.
I didn't realize there was a pond here.
Yeah, this is Taka Pond. And it happened to have saved my life once upon a time.
What do you mean?
As a kid, I survived life under the past lords by escaping here when I needed to. It's terrible to swim in, but great for catching a bite for dinner away from Renan eyes.
Bear in mind, our rations back then weren't enough to live off of. You had to take matters into your own hands if you wanted enough food to survive.
But how did you catch them? With your bare hands?
That might take a while. Fish are prone to swim away at the first sign of trouble.
I'd put bait or a lure on a line and use it with a fishing rod.
You must not be familiar with fishing if this sounds new to you. Here, let me show you how it's done.
Finally I get to try fishing out. Because every RPG has fishing. And I knew there was going to be fishing in this game because I kept finding fishing spots. Various fishing points are scattered around Dana, which contain different types of fish to catch. These fish can then be used in cooking, sold for gold, or even unlock new titles, so don't hesitate to try new fishing holes when you find them. Fishing consists of 4 steps: casting a line, luring fish, hooking them, and then reeling them in. For more information about these steps, consult the fishing control stock. That's the part that we wanted to know.
Where should I cast my line?
So, okay, so you aim it with this, I guess. Right, and then right trigger. Reel in. Wait, what is...
Not my lucky day, I guess.
What just happened? So what do I have to, like... Oh. The heck?
Nothing's biting.
This game is confusing. I don't understand this at all.
Where should I cast my line?
So I cast the lure. Oh.
All right.
The heck? This is the most complicated fishing game I've ever played in my life. No. No, wrong button. No.
Well, that wasn't much of a challenge.
That went pretty well.
This is the worst. It's like the weirdest game. I don't get it. Okay, what does Shake even do? I don't understand what's going on.
And that's all there is to it.
Wow. It seems like you need to have good reflexes to catch anything. I don't know if it's really for me. Kisara? I think I've seen enough.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm just in my own little world when I go fishing.
Looks like we're going to be here for a while.
That's how fishing goes. You wait for a bite, and then the real battle begins.
Miguel told me that different fish live in different regions, and you have to pick the right rod and lure for what you're hoping to catch.
But that doesn't change the fact it's a giant time sink.
Of course, each fish has its own unique flavor, too. And some of them are supposed to be extremely delicious.
When you put it like that, maybe it's worth me trying my hand at fishing after all.
You're just in it for the food.
I was hoping we'd get to fish during our travels. And it just so happens I made sure to grab my brother's old rod before I left Vicente. So, if you ever feel like fishing when we've got a little downtime, just let me know.
Good to hear. Thanks for showing us.
Okay!
Fishing is a minigame in this game that I'm probably not going to play. Hey, you look like you know your way with the rod. I've been fishing a long time and have built up a good collection of equipment for it. I'll share it with you if you're interested. I just want one thing in exchange. All I ask is for you to show me records of any fish you catch. The more you catch, the more equipment I'll hook you up with. If you need anything, I'm always here. Don't be afraid to come and talk to me. The fishing expert found at Talca Pond can teach you the basics about fishing. If you show him your fishing notes, he'll tell you where to go to catch fish you haven't found, as well as giving you new fishing gear based on how much you've caught. There's some games where fishing is actually really great, and then there's some games where fishing is just horrendous. Well, look who it is. Something you need to ask? Here, look at my notes. Okay, bye. Persona 4 had a really bad... In Golden, they added fishing, and it had a really bad, I hated fishing in that game. Whew, you're a lifesaver. Now I can get back to my miss. Sorry, I forget I spoke. Carry on, don't mind me. A standard issued shield. Oh, okay.
I'm always amazed what healing arts can do.
Just doing my job. No need to thank me.
Hey. Is it just me, or have those two barely spoken a single word to one another?
I know, right? But after everything that happened with Miguel, is it really any wonder?
Kinda puts a damper on the whole journey though, huh? How long do you think they're gonna keep this up?
If it bothers you that much, why don't you ask them?
Why do I have to ask?
How come you walk together like that?
She really doesn't beat around the bush.
You mean Kisara and myself?
You hadn't noticed? You've been practically joined at the hip ever since we left Vicente.
I guess it's force of habit, most likely. I was always ready to protect him, should the need arise. It sort of came with the job description.
Right. From being in the Elder Menancia Guard. Although, Dohalim's pretty capable of defending himself, isn't he?
Having guards doesn't necessarily mean the one being guarded is weak. No one's perfect all the time.
Even so, it's not like they're entirely wrong, Kisara. You're no longer in my employ, after all.
I don't know. I mean, if it's what she's used to and you're both comfortable with it, then who are we to judge?
But she doesn't serve him anymore. It isn't normal for her to keep following him around like she still does.
You know, she's probably right. And a lot has changed over the last few days. I guess it wouldn't hurt to rethink our relationship in light of the new circumstances. Perhaps I'll give it some thought after all. Does that sound all right by you?
Of course.
You might want to stop asking his permission for every little thing while you're at it.
Sorry. It's not that easy, shaking off old habits. I'll probably need a little time to get fully used to it. I've noticed that sometimes we come across enemies who fight like you, and try to dodge our attacks at the last second.
I hate those guys. I can get some hits in when they move into attack, but otherwise they slip past damn near everything else I throw at them.
If what you're seeking is a way to more reliably hit them, there is a solution.
Try to outclass them on reflexes?
I possess the ability to command Earth elemental beings to some extent. They emerge as the land itself and take root on my command. They will swiftly bind the enemies, at which point you can dispatch them.
Huh?
What he means is that he can make plants grow to hold the enemies in place. At least I think that's probably what he's saying.
I'm glad at least one of us understands him. So basically, if we find an enemy that likes to dodge, we should let Dohalim handle it.
I shall do what I can within my modest means to help.
And I just take a moment to say, dang, Renwell, can you just calm yourself down a little bit? I understand that you don't like Renans. Probably oddly enough, she's the one that dislikes them the most, which makes me wonder if that's part of the thing that she's got going on that she's not talking about. But anyway. Dang, girl, calm down.
Why are you looking at me like that?
That armor you wear is standard issue for the Menancian Guard, right?
Originally, I've added some flair to it in a lot of places.
I noticed, especially with that open back.
We guardsmen pride ourselves on never showing our back to our enemies. It's my way of making myself live up to that. Plus, it makes it that much lighter and easier to maintain.
Dohalim, do you have anything to say about this?
Every guardsman is allowed to wear their armor as they see fit.
And you, Law?
Huh? Why are you asking me?
Is it because it makes her look so hot and smoking hot? Like, I'm sorry, but her backside is a 10 out of 10 from top to bottom. Character design, aced. Well done. Have I been looking for an opportunity to point that out for a while now? Yes, probably. So thank you, game, for giving it to me. Woohoo!
Thanks for waiting. Eat as much as you like.
Dohalim, care if I hang out for a while? You worried about what's going on with Menancia?
What makes you think that?
Well, you were speaking to Kisara earlier, weren't you?
It's rude to listen in on others, you know.
Sorry. I didn't hear what you two were actually talking about, though. I just figured it was Menancia since it was the two of you.
I am but a former lord who has abandoned his post. I'm no longer in a position to lead the realm in any capacity whatsoever. Yet Kisara still seeks out my opinions, knowing full well that is the case. This despite the fact I am no longer her master either.
Couldn't it be precisely because you're not her master anymore? It's natural for friends to want to hear each other's opinions.
I hadn't considered that possibility.
It's funny what you miss sometimes.
Hardly uncommon among artistic types such as myself. When lordships are decided based solely on one's astral energy, it can lead to funny results.
But even so, you still took your job as lord seriously, didn't you?
Certainly. I learned to perform my functions. However, I was less interested in ruling, so much as avoiding life and death decisions. Of course, such a mentality in the end led only to sickening pain and death taking place elsewhere out of sight. I pretended not to see or hear any of it, content to let our supposed peace and equality keep me blind and deaf to reality. I was a fool.
But you're making amends.
I would like to think so. The path ahead is dark, yet I still walk on. I merely pray that I shan't fall down any holes along the way.